Actually, no. I need to find something out. These are all... Oh no, we have converted and heavies. So they're not going to be as good as I thought they were. I need to know... Wait, you're converted. Where's the improved? Oh, I see it's here. So converted carriers... Actually, I have a higher max range. Slightly slower. 20 knots. Kind of need to know this now, actually. Improved, improved, improved. So these are all improved ones. These are all the fast ones. And they're all pretty big with lots of deck space. Okay. Then we have converted and improved, and then where's the little one? There's the little one. How fast are you? 22. So you are kind of in the middle. And then if we're thinking long term here, because what I'm wondering is whether I want to add some small carriers to my recon fleets. Because they are quite a lot cheaper. And they have really good spotting. Like, really good spotting. So, you know what? I'm going to do something a little unexpected here. I am going to split you in half. And we're going to use the... No, we'll keep the one high seas fleet, which is going to be my big hitter. And then we'll have two of these, which are going to be a lot smaller. So these are going to be one heavy, no escort carriers. It's going to be half of this strength, half of that. And then that's 1, 7, 8, 9. So again, 36. So I think we'll go with 40 destroyers as the escort. And then this is going to be a home fleet. We'll see if this works. If not, no worries. I forgot to save it. Bloody hell. Of course I did. Did I? Yes. And then I want another home fleet. And then this is effectively going to be the escort fleet. It's going to have some of these carriers in. So if we go to say 4 of those. Escort. Do this. Should I save it? And then we're going to go with recon, which is just going to be destroyers. We could add like a fast battleship if we wanted a little bit of extra speed. And a little bit of extra oomph, but I don't think that's going to be particularly necessary. In fact, I might even go up to 10 destroyers for the actual coverage. Keep on forgetting to actually save the damn template. So I want more recon. More recon. And then one more. So we're going to be able to recon 4 provinces properly. And these are in return. Or in reserve. So this is going to be commanded by the other guy, Douglas. Strike Fleet. So this is going to be our best frontline fighter. I'm even tempted to merge these two in with him so he gets as much experience as he possibly can. Ironside Blockade Runner, probably. And this is our escort fleet. which needs to have good spotting and good blockade running. So it can be either of those. They're exactly the same. You're going to go because you look awesome with the pipe. And then this is our recon fleet. And they basically need the same thing. So this can be Pugsley. You're Ironsides, right? Yeah. How well did I do in Crusader Kings 2? I think probably sums it up pretty well. Captain Cynical, Steampunk Belladonna, Smith New House, Rui, and Wild Tempest, thank you very much for the follows. And Ray Hunt, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel, good to see you. Hello. I didn't get 0 kills, let's just say that. And I performed precisely double as well as I thought I would. Okay, so that's all of the navy's done for now. The other thing that we need to sort out is our production. So we will need to start researching carrier planes. And building those. I'm not even going to bother building into wars, those are terrible. So we'll get naval bombers, think those will be useful. And one more light tank. So that we are in a position to send light tanks. Actually, no, we need motorized. I'd quite like to have 3 motorized, I think. That seems to be decent. Earth is using chromium already. Oh, the capital ships, right. Well, quite honestly, I think I'm going to send these to the bottom. Oh wait, not the resurgences. The resurgences we're working on. It's the Bond fields. And the republics. Let's actually organize these in terms of when they think they'll be finished. So 37, 40, 40, 42, 43, 38. Okay. So the Republic class is big ones or small ones? Heavy carriers, these are big. I actually want to get some more small ones. I want escort carriers. Did very well at proving the Satanist thing. He doesn't work very well in CK2. Yes. I'm just pissed that my first character died from syphilis. I'm still completely unsure how on earth I got that. Because the wife didn't have it. And I was too busy fighting people to play around. And because it killed me, I wasn't able to get into any of the duels or the sieges and things that I needed to. I was actually rather disappointed because I was sieging a lot of stuff and just taking no captives. Are you sure it wasn't another curse? No. Except for the fact that players weren't allowed to go after other players for the first 30 minutes. So if someone was cheating, it's possible. I don't want to make any accusations because I have no proof, but it's the only thing I can think of, unless it's an AI. Just got lucky. But I had a pretty good intrigue, and I was paranoid. Whether that's any defense against curses, I have no idea. It didn't look like it. Ready! Comrade Mosley calls a meeting. Comrade Mosley of the Maximist faction has invited George Valois from the French Sorelians, Lavrenti Beria of the National Bolsheviks in Georgia, and Benito Mussolini of the Italian National Syndicalists to Birmingham to compile a manifesto stating their joint aims for a new kind of socialism, called totalism. Chairman Snowden's Federationists should keep an eye on this development. Yes, they should. So we've got Bill Alexander, who is the only field marshal that we have, and he's pretty good, actually. Then Raymond Briggs, who's an infantry commander and a panzer leader. Flexible, panzer engineer, panzer armor, political manipulated, connected. Hill fighter, infantry commando. I think... Well, no, my infantry is... Whoa! Got is ridiculously defensive. Alright, so... The problem is the militia is probably never going to leave my shores.
Ready to move.
No, I wanted you in charge of the militia. Damn it. Take some time to get there, but that's fine. And then the attacker, I think, is going to be Sterling, because he's an infantry commando, and he's got decent attack. He could do with better logistics, but so it goes.
All in.
And you lot. Start protecting all of this stuff. Well, the man's being protected. Good. You need to have 34 minimum. Gok could actually level up. Fortress Buster or Scavenger. No, don't think so.
Ready, sir.
What about Sterling? Sterling can become a skirmisher, paratroopers, or camouflage expert. Politically manipulated. Tell me that wasn't entirely by accident. That was not entirely by accident. Alright, Air Force. Because you guys are kind of rubbish right now, I think I would like you training. And then... I think we'll keep it like this for now. We'll just have the Air Force training, get us some air experience. Although I would also like to have some ship experience. We'll just have to deal with that later. Mussolini, Valois, Beria, and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss the common ground. It's been agreed that Maximism, Sorelianism, and National Syndicalism will share the same basic principles and shall henceforth be known as Totalism. Have I ever played as Russia in Kaiserreich? Once or twice. I have a certain character as one of my chat icons for a reason. You may have heard of him. His name's Wrangle. Phone buzzing away. Buzzed. The only true Tsar in Kaiserreich. Exactly. Has he seized power? Because he seems to seize power actually a fair amount. No, we've actually got the Republic already. Crikey, that was quick. Because sometimes Wrangle seizes power and then hands over power to the legitimate Tsar. That seems to be one of the more popular paths. He doesn't keep it for himself though, as he should. Because he is, after all, the rightful Tsar. After the Weltkrieg, as the British Raj collapsed into the turmoil and warfare, the neighbouring kingdom of Afghanistan took advantage of this as an opportunity to seize Peshawar and Quetta. I always thought that was a guy with a chef's hat. No! How dare you! Although I am sure that Wrangle is an excellent chef too. Adam, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. But to be more serious, if you want to see the Kaiserreich playthroughs that I've done previously, I do upload most of them, not all of them, to YouTube, and I'm fairly sure Wrangle's one is up there. On the 3rd of February 1936, the Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking. It plunged. Fueled by the instability of the market, panic selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. Oops. Shouldn't be doing so many capitalist shenanigans then, should you? Why is this not unpausing? Oh dear, my keyboard seems to have stopped. What is this? Huh. Well, that's not good. Well, that was weird. Keyboard input stopped working there for a second. Sorelians have been elected in France. The Commune of France is the world's leading syndicalist nation. It's a federation of city communes directed by the Comité de Salut Public, the chief executive. The disgraced Disgraced Marco Piver's replacement arose from the Sorelians, who now hold a majority in the CSP. The Sorelians are the orthodox syndicalists and advocate centralisation with the Bourse Générale du Travail, the parliament of the chief institution. I thought the Sorelians were totalists. They are. Okay, so they're going to go totalist, and I'm going to go syndicalist. Interesting. So they're probably going to be drawing me into a war earlier rather than later. Poland declares the Republic. After several high-profile terror attacks in Poland, the near-total collapse of their economy, a large group of high-ranking Polish officials have released a statement declaring the creation of a new Polish Republic. Now, do I have... Oh, we have different regiments already. So you need to be explodey. You need to be regulary. And these are Infantry mit Panzerunterstützung. Unfortunately, they are not regular tanks. So how many... Ah, we do actually have the capacity for armoured or motorised. I would like to start training some armoured divisions. 5 of them should do. Okay, maybe 4. I think 5's overdoing it a little. French loyalists restore the monarchy. After a brief French civil war, the old government of France and its supporters fled to North Africa to escape the syndicalist wrath. There, the nation eventually devolved into a military junta under the Lion of Verdun, Philippe Pétain. However, a big question arose: the defeated nation. What should its future be? Retaking France is the priority, yes, but what should be the government? You guys are getting some nice training in, that's good. Nerdmalg, thank you very much for the follow, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the commentary on the Kaiserreich tournament last weekend. I'm so looking forward to your commentary in the finals. That was enjoyable. Thank you. You are most welcome, Ray. Thank you. It was fun to do. I hadn't done a Kaiserreich tournament like that before, so I'm completely unversed in multiplayer Kaiserreich meta type things. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes this time. I want to see more competent naval play. That was the thing that was missing. I was fairly critical about that. So bonus points if you pull off good naval stuff. The restoration of democracy in Australia. The Australasian Confederation has been under the authoritarian rule of Governor-General Mordred since the military invocation of the Emergency Protocols of 1924, considered by many in the nation to have been a heavy-handed response to the Melbourne Common Syndicalist uprising. Those are divisions, they're barely brigades. I mean, we have to start with something. We can always upgrade them over time. Death of Pius. I mean, they do actually have a 35 organisation, which is decent. 87 breakthrough at this stage of the game is also alright. All Christendom mourns the death of His Holiness, Pope Pius XI, who died following a heart attack after having been in declining health for the past several years, something which rapidly worsened following Black Monday. Oopsie. Here we go, 1936 Trade Union Council begins. Today, the Trade Union Congress of 1936 has begun. The various factions of the Congress have sent their delegates and their leaders to London to argue their position. So, one thing I need to know is there was a thing that was referencing reforms. Okay, that's only a dependent for the revolution. I don't remember what those reforms are. Nor how you get them. Are they decisions? Speaking of which, these are probably things I should look at. So we can get war propaganda, improve working conditions, and rally public support. Those are fairly standard. We actually have a really poor... Oh, that's war support. Stability is okay. We shall never surrender. Can only be done once the Weltkrieg has begun. We gain stability, war support, division recovery, attack and defense on core. British Home Guard. Call forth the Home Guard to defend Britain. And conscript vessels. Conscript civilian vessels for light cruiser service. Okay. He made that very clear in the commentary, but what exactly seems to be... But that seems exactly a weak point to the multiplayer games as far as I've experienced them. Discussions going on like this OP that's overpowered, but no one seems to take the time to go beyond the surface level, and maybe... If I may use the metaphor, your comment on that was very welcome. And I hope it does inspire people to look more into it. Almost like you could use a naval co-op just as one uses a plane manager. That's more difficult because you can't lend lease ships. So the naval players need to be aware of their navies. The main thing is how you organise your fleet. I think that's part of the reason that people's submarines are better than their regular fleets, because they actually organise their submarines. It's easy. You split them out into their own things. The difficulty is then having recon fleets, which are these, which are basically just destroyers. You can have a capital ship or two just for a little bit of backing. Their sole purpose is to go and find enemy ships. Once they found them, they then call in the strike fleets, which are these guys, and these are your heavy ships. Your your dreadnoughts, your fast battles, and crew carriers if you have them. And then you also have your escort fleets, which are these guys, and these are mostly destroyers. You can add in escort carriers, which is something I'm trying for the first time this time, and their job is to protect your convoy. So if the enemy is using a lot of submarines, then you just need to have really big, powerful escort fleets, because submarines will not attack convoys that are well protected. You just need to make sure your protection efficiency is high enough, and also equip decent submarine detection, which carriers are really good at. Like, this is something I have not really tested yet, so I'm kind of intrigued about this. But carriers start out with a... Oh, only 0.8. Okay, never mind. How much is yours? Sub-detection of 1 versus a destroyer's. Actually, what level was that? Let's say the early one. Sub-detection of 1. That's the 33 model-ish. Sub-detection of 1. So carriers have the same amount, but I think that the aircraft can sub-detect as well. And there also seem to be some pretty big doctrine bonuses to sub-detection. At least I thought there were. Maybe that's just vanilla. But having air superiority also gives you more sub-protection, so if you have air superiority from carriers, then that will be better. Destroyer, cruiser, destroyer, cruiser. Here, carrier sub-detection. Okay, so it's fleet and being that have the carrier sub-detection. Plus 50%, which is a huge bonus. Except for the fact I don't think you can add sonar to carriers. That's another thing to look at, I guess. You are the small carrier. No. They can probably have radar. Well, something I'm going to try regardless. Our escort carrier is better against submarines, though. We shall see. I don't know the answer to that. Usually I just use massive numbers of destroyers. Like, if your destroyers are competent and have decent sonar and decent radar, then they will just screen the convoys and the submarines will just won't get close. By the way, do a Navy how-to video. You asked for it. Yes, I know I did. I think that in multiplayer the approach is to split up the different fleet roles. So one player does escorts, one does subs, and one does the actual combat fleet detection and strike forces. That would work, yes. So you could have one player who focuses on just churning out destroyers and nothing else. Another who focuses on just the submarines and nothing else. And then one who does the strike fleets. The strike fleet commander will need to be like the most invested in Navy. So for example, in the Third International, you probably want France doing the destroyers because he's got the most access to different oceans, so you can protect both the Mediterranean and then also the Atlantic. You probably want the Union of Britain doing the strike fleets, and they can also contribute to recon because they're going to have a lot of shipyards. And then probably Spain does the submarines. Although that would also depend partially on manufacturers. I've not taken the time to look at these. So we can have Commel Laird, which is carrier, deck size, range, light, heavy, max range, cruiser manufacturer, which is much cheaper cruisers, and then small ships. So here, Swan Hunter Union, you have extra depth charges. which would be good against submarines, but no submarine detection, interestingly. So this is definitely something to know for Britain. Cruisers are usually kind of expensive. So if you got John Brown and Company, you could do a combination of armoured cruisers, which have a pretty quick movement, so you can use them very much for hit and run, and then regular cruisers have excellent submarine or excellent surface detection, and you could actually use this for convoy interdiction rather than submarines. And this might actually be more effective because you'll get more bang for your buck. And the surface detection of cruisers is insane, especially if you equip them with float planes. And they would... adding in 1 or 2 heavy cruisers to your light cruiser raiding fleet will allow you to kill destroyers. So if you find your submarines are being killed by destroyers, switch it up to cruisers and heavy cruisers and you'll take out the destroyers. The role of heavy cruisers is destroyer sinking.